What's up, Dwarf? It's your boy Tommy Man. I just came to give you guys my thoughts on the whole situation in the NBA right now. A couple things have transpired since the last time we had this talk, and so I just felt a need to step in and give you my thoughts on the landscape in the NBA. Okay. I'll start this discussion out with the same way I usually like to speak to the people who watch my videos. You ever have somebody? You ever have like a friend who no matter what you tell them, they find a way to make something that doesn't make sense make sense. Like you're like. But you know the truth of the matter is they just want to do it. So you kind of keep telling them like, dude, that seems like it's a very stupid idea. It doesn't seem like like, why would you do that? It doesn't make sense. To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense for you to do it that way. And they're like, no, it's this. And you're like, yeah, but if you do that, then this will happen. Yeah, but yeah, but I'm gonna do it this way. It's like, yeah, but if you do it that way, then you have to worry about this. Do you understand that there's no way you can do this where it's going to end up good for you? And in the end they're like, yeah, they'll say they're not gonna do it, and then they'll turn around and do it anyways. And then they come out after it goes left, and they want to make every excuse in the world instead of the excuses you gave them for why it would go wrong, because they don't want to say you were right. That's how I feel watching the Nets, right? It's like they have a million excuses for why it's going to work when it's obvious it's not going to work. And no matter how many times you point out to them that, look, this can't change, that can't change, they sit up there and say, oh yeah, but if they do this, it's like, dude, I don't care how many times you try to tell me this. You buying an Xbox Series X right now is not the smartest idea when you don't have a job and you are 3 months behind on child support. Not saying I got anybody, because people see black people think that they have friends on child support. I don't have friends on child support. I'm just speaking, hypothetically. But it's probably not the best idea for you to get Xbox Series X when you're 3 months behind on child support and you just lost your job. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? I just feel like because I'm depressed that it'll help me take my mind off it. Yeah, but your mind probably shouldn't be that far off of it. You get what I'm saying? Like, even if it does take your mind off of it, that's still not a good thing, because you probably need to be looking for another job right now. Yeah, I get that, and I understand that 100%. You're right. But what if I get it? You know what I'm saying? And then if it worse comes to worse, I just sell it. Yeah, but if you sell it, you're gonna still lose money. So if you sell it, not only did you buy something you didn't need, but now you just gave away hundreds of dollars, because you're not gonna be able to sell it for the same price that you bought it at. So you just lost about $200. So you threw $200 away. So that's still not a good idea. They're like, yeah, you right, but I you know what I'm saying? I only think I need like 2 weeks for it. So I'm willing. So it's almost like paying the $200 for the 2 weeks to just clear my mind. And you just sit up there like, dude, yes, but you don't need the 2 weeks. You can still clear your mind and find stuff to do, but spend a little time looking for another job, or at least signing up for unemployment. Like, you got to think of options, because you're 3 months behind on child support payments, and if you keep doing that, they're going to revoke your license. You're not going to be able to go to work, and now you're going to have problems. And they sit up there and they tell you for weeks and weeks and weeks, and you come over there and you see the Xbox on their thing, and you're like, what? Like, you bought it? And then that's when they're sitting up there like, I just figured I just get it anyway. It's like, okay. And what ends up happening? A month later, they coming up to you asking you, hey man, you got a couple dollars? Like, do I got a couple dollars? Like, no, I don't. Like, what do you mean? Yeah, I tried to take the Xbox back. They wouldn't let me take it back, and I ain't been able to sell it. You serious? Yeah, but the problem is that I bought it from a specific place that don't allow you to take it back, and then the place I'm trying to sell it on, you have to have this to be able to sell it. Like, as if them telling you that changed the narrative in any way. You're like, yeah, but all of these things are things I told you way ahead of time. Now that it's coming to fruition, you're just finding little nitpick ways that it was different than what I said. But the truth of the matter is, the point I was making was, you're not in a position to buy the Xbox, and that's a huge risk to be taken when you're in such a dire financial strait. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Now you're asking me for money. Now I'm gonna have to make up for your for the consequences of your actions, and now I gotta make up for it. So no, I don't have the money. It's like, yeah, man, but seriously, I need it, because if I don't get it, they're gonna revoke my license. You like, are you kidding me? I told you that. Yeah, I know what you said, but it's easy for you. Then they try to put the guilt trip on you. It's easy for you to say that because this, that, and the third, but I gotta do this and I gotta do that, and you're like, dude, come on, man. It was a dumb decision. Just fess up to the fact that it was a dumb decision, and now you gotta live with that dumb decision. You can't just do dumb stuff and then look for other people to bail you out when you make that dumb decision. That is the problem with Nets fans, right? You rooted for this James Harden trade. They got the James Harden trade, even though everybody and their mom told you that. I don't think there was anybody who wasn't saying, this is dumb. Harden, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant, somebody's going to have to take a backseat, so you're going to at least get 85% of what you had of James Harden, because he's not going to be able to dominate the ball like he used to. So at best, you can hope for maybe 85% of who he used to be, because a large amount of who he used to be was based on the sheer volume of shots he took. Same thing with Kyrie Irving. So you're getting 85% in order to accommodate that three-headed monster. You're getting 75% of James Harden and 85% of Kyrie Irving. And 75% of James Harden ain't messing with 100% of LeBron James and 100% of AD. 100% of Ben Simmons, 100% of Tobias Harris, 100% of Joel Embiid, 100% of Jaylen Brown, 100% of Tatum, 100% of Kemba Walker. There are a lot of three-headed monsters in the East. They are better than all around, like offense, defense, you know what I'm saying? The intangibles. They only are better than those other three tandems on offense. So you have just given up. Now before they had 100% of Kyrie, when he's not batshit crazy, and then 100% of KD. They don't need 100% of Kyrie, because who the hell cares? You got KD. KD on that Brooklyn Nets team could have taken that Brooklyn Nets team to the championship by himself. They played the best defense they played all year when Kyrie Irving was missing games. And it was just KD. That was the best team. That was the best the team was playing all year. Was when Kyrie Irving was missing in action. And Harden hadn't got there yet. They started giving DeAndre Jordan's minutes to Allen. And now you're seeing what type of Allen's on the Cleveland Cavaliers, and that dude's going to be a breakout star. You can already see it. And all because of their relationship with DeAndre Jordan, they traded him. Right? So now you stuck with DeAndre Jordan. But at that point, they were using Allen way more. Allen was their defensive stopper, and KD don't need more than KD. Whatever you need offensively, trust me, you can go to the well, you can go to KD, he's going to give it to you. He has that type of ability. You don't need an extra offensive threat when you have Kevin Durant. You just need Kevin Durant and a bunch of role players that can play along with him. Kyrie Irving is good enough by himself. Now, if you would have traded Kyrie Irving straight up for James Harden, I would have been like, bravo. That is genius. That was the smartest thing they could have did. Because Harden is better than Kyrie Irving. He's bigger. He's a better defender in the low post, and you can hide him on defense better because he can at least guard the rim. He's a big body who can body people up if they try to take him inside. So you can move around and have him buzzing while still protecting the paint. He can still do that. You know, that's one thing James Harden can do. Kyrie Irving can't do that. And on offense, he gets you a lot of points, but he needs a lot of shots to get those points. And because he's so undersized, he has to dribble so much to get his shot off that it takes so much of the clock, but that it's hard for other people to stay in rhythm. So if you could have traded anybody, and I know saying James Harden is better, but trust me, it's not the fact that James Harden dribbles. It's the fact that James Harden dribbles in one spot that makes it bad. But when James Harden has no problem giving up the ball. Now he may go stand over in the corner, but he'll at least give the ball up, and he can still pass. He's leading the league in assists right now because he's a great passer. And you can't tell me they couldn't have got those same. They may have. Yeah, you're getting 29 points from Kyrie, but you can't tell me you wouldn't have been getting 22 with James Harden and Karis LeVert wouldn't have been getting 22 points. But yeah, I understand. I think they were going to trade Harden for. I think Kyrie Irving did this whole thing because I think they were going to trade him straight up for James Harden. I think the Brooklyn Nets were going to trade him straight up for James Harden, who wouldn't. So I think that's why he pulled that Dahmer and went all crazy, because it's like why else would he do it and then come back soon as they make the trade for James Harden? Because in my mind, I think he knew they were about to trade him for James Harden. They were in talks of trading him for James Harden. And that's why he tried to pretend like he was crazy so they wouldn't want him. So now he's damaged goods, so they can't trade him, so they had to end up giving up players they actually needed, not the player they didn't need. Now they're struggling, and everybody and mom knew the Brooklyn Nets, like, dude, they're gonna suck with that lineup. They can't guard anybody. It's like, who's gonna play defense? This is not anything new that anybody didn't see coming. Now it's happening, and all these Brooklyn Nets fans who cheered and screamed that it was going to be great for the team are now like the guy with the child support payment. Oh crap, I gotta pay that back. I gotta play defense now. Yeah, it is. We need to find some defense. Oh, really? You think? Oh my gosh, I'm trying my best to try to figure out who could have seen this coming. Besides every damn body who saw the trade on the table. First thing that comes to mind, who the hell is gonna play defense? They're gonna score. What, they're gonna outscore every single team they play? No, you're not. Not when you're giving up points like they don't, like it's make it take it. You know what I'm saying? It's like almost like they think that the ball, that the points that are scored after they make a shot don't matter. Like, you'll literally see them make a point. The person will drive directly. Like, dude, the one thing you learn in freaking little league basketball is stop the ball. They don't even do that. And then even though they don't stop, none of them fight over screens. It is amazing. Watch the Brooklyn Nets. Anybody who does not understand basketball, next time you watch the Brooklyn Nets, pay attention to this. They don't fight through screens. They don't fight to get around screens. The one time I saw them doing that, and that was only with KD always does it. Because he knows if he does not stay on the man's going to score. So KD fights to get over screens. But KD's the only one. DeAndre Jordan he's just collecting a paycheck at this moment. That guy stands under the goal as if he's on house arrest with a probation ankle. Like he can't get too far away from the goal. It's like, you are a defender too. This is not 1991. I mean, it's not you have to protect. You gotta come out to protect the mid range. Never does it. He just stands under the goal the entire time. You see Kevin Durant having to come from halfway across the court to still protect the rim anyway. So it's like if Kevin Durant still got to run and come over the back to protect the rim anyways, why are you standing so close to the rim? Doesn't make any sense. I don't really get DeAndre Jordan's defensive philosophy. Seems to me like he's just let me hide so that nobody blames me for them scoring 30 points, even though I'm usually to blame, because I have defenders who don't ever fight over picks, they always go either underneath it or just let the person just stonewall them. And so the guy gets whatever he wants. If I want, and DeAndre Jordan is always in the paint. So the mid range is open all day, if not the three. You know what I'm saying? If he happens to step up, he's so slow at stepping up that all they got to do is step back and shoot the three anyway. So teams get loads of open threes. And if a team gets hot, the Nets get blown out. It's that simple. Because their defense ain't stopping nobody. They just got to hope they miss. I will say this about Kyrie Irving against the Clippers. That was a different Kyrie Irving. Against the Clippers, that is the type of defender Kyrie Irving can be. Now, all in all, they still suck because they still had to cover for James Harden. And Kyrie Irving really isn't that big. So Kawhi Leonard, kind of gave him the business. But regardless, Kyrie Irving, you saw him sticking his nose in it. Like, I saw him being aggressive. He was bumping. He was doing all these things that I say he had the ability to do. And he played a really good defensive game against the Clippers. And he was able to stop the bleeding enough so that they could get the win. And with Kyrie Irving, I think you saw the following game, he sees how taxing that is on the body. When you play that rough on defense and you're that physical on defense like he was, which is what he has to be because he gave away the defensive stopper and brought in another guy who's a liability on defense. So now he has to step up on the defensive side because they're going to pick on him first. Because they're going to put him in. When you got three guys, I'm sorry, anybody who knows anything about basketball, when you got DeAndre Jordan who cannot come out, he can't get out just to prevent it. You got Kyrie Irving and James Harden, who neither one will fight through a pick. You know what I'm saying? And if they do, it is the shittiest fight through of the pick. The person just blows by them anyways because it's such a let me through busting through the pick that the guy just shoots the lane anyways. And then you got DeAndre old man Jordan over there who take 30 minutes to jump. It's like, dude, what are you waiting on? Okay, it's like, I understand that in 2008, you could wait and then just excel and jump high and just knock it out. You can't do that anymore, okay? You can't move. Your rim protection is just awful. Why are you getting paid $20 million a year? I will never know. I mean, he is just awful. And watching him makes me so angry because a lot of people are putting blame on Kyrie and Harden. And that's real. They should be blamed. They are horrible perimeter defenders. Kyrie more so because he doesn't even try it. There was a point in this season he wasn't even trying. Like, he wasn't, like, this man would just, like, he would lazily lean into picks. It's like, dude, bust through the pick. You could have got around him. Like, you got a 7-foot dude. You're one of the quickest guys in the league. You trying to tell me this guy can stonewall you? You can't. Now, he on offensive side. You can't stay in front of it. But on the defensive side, for some strange reason, he can't get around picks. Patrick Beverly can get around picks. Chris Paul can get around picks. His ball's 6 feet. He's 6'2", 6'3". He can't get around a pick. Quick as he is, fast as he is, he can't get around a pick though. Like, come on, dude. Like, you're not even trying. Now, against the Clippers, maybe it's because it was the Clippers, he was getting around picks. He was fighting through picks. He was doing everything he could because he felt like this is a game he needed to win. Because for some strange reason, he thinks he's still on the Cavs, in which he can cruise through the regular season and then the playoffs come around. Well, you tried that on the Celtics. We saw how that worked out for you. Did not work out well for you because it's kind of hard to do that when you don't have LeBron James on your team. All right? You do have KD now, but you don't have LeBron James on your team. KD is a great player, but KD has not mentally gotten to LeBron's level yet. He's getting there. You know, I think in a couple years, it's not even going to be close that Kevin Durant is the best player in the league. But right now, he's not mentally there because this is the first time in a long time that he's had to defensively make all the adjustments and offensively still try to find his spot. I think KD can do what, I'm just being real, I think KD can do what Harden and Kyrie do. I think KD, at the time when Kyrie was missing, KD was averaging a triple-double. That's how good KD is. And if they ever just give that guy the ball and let these two guys who are really just volume shooters play around him, I think they'll be a better team. But the problem is they can't, because if you do that, you reduce them to jump shooters, and they're not good jump shooters. They need the ball to catch their rhythm, and that's the problem. So it's like when I watch that, I'm really never that impressed with the Nets. Like, I really don't ever think that they're that good of a team, and I'm never really that blown away by what I see. And so when I'm arguing with people who want to tell me over and over again, like, the Nets are good, I always be like, why? What makes them good? Because they have Kyrie, Kevin Durant, and Harden, even though they don't play defense. They scored 147 points. They gave up 125 in the game. They scored 147 points. Is that really good? It really just showed that they just sped up the game, ran it real fast. So they scored a lot of points, but they also gave up a lot of points. I've never seen anybody win a 20-point game in which the team they lost to, scored 125 points. Have you ever seen anything like that? But everybody was talking about the fact they scored 160 or something like that, or 150 or something like that, and nobody talked about the fact they gave up 125 points in that game. The Lakers, I mean, what can you say? I mean, at this point, they want to talk about the Nets because they beat the Clippers. Do you? I mean, like the Clippers lost 8 games this year. Okay, you can beat the Clippers and not be a good team. All right, and especially when they're on a 5-game road trip, in which they're on the 5th game right before their last game. So they're at the end of a road trip. They don't give a shit no more. They just want to go home. They've been living out of a hotel for a week and a half. I'm sorry if it was up to and they barely won, and the Nets barely won because the Clippers were missing open shots. Okay, so when the Clippers shots were falling, they were blowing them out. The Clippers went into a slump. The Nets came back, and that's fine. That's the way they win. They got to outscore their opponent. I get it, but don't try to act like this was a good showing because they beat a team that I said in the last video hasn't beat a good team all year. Every single good team, go look at their schedule. Every good team, almost every good team they've played, they've lost to them. Almost every team above 500 that they've played, they've lost to them. So I don't think the Clippers are good barometers to try to say how good the Nets are. So that being said, that's one. Number two, you look at the Clippers. As I said, they're top heavy. You take away when Kawhi sits, they start losing. Paul George quit to sit, they start losing. They're gonna have to play, they're playing crazy minutes because they have to. That's the only way they can win. And bravo to Kawhi because he's playing every game. He's doing his thing. And I think it's being overlooked that he stepped up to the plate this year. He's really putting in the work. He's playing in every single game. And the Clippers are third in the West. I think they're third in the NBA in general. But they're a good team. You know what I mean? They just don't have any bench. They gave up their bench. And I don't think their bench was replaced well. Reggie Jackson sucks. I mean, you got Morris, but that's really the only person you got off the bench, and he's not that type of scorer. He's more of a defensive 3-and-D guy. So he's not gonna go out there and drop, give you what Montrezl Harrell gave you. People. And the sucky part about that is, you can see how that loss of Montrezl Harrell has hurt Lou Williams. Lou Williams is not the same player he was, because now there's no threat of the pick and roll that there was last year. That when he was playing, now you got Zubac, and it's so easy to guard both of them that I ain't even worried about him. We can guard him one-on-one. You couldn't guard Montrezl Harrell. You can see what he's doing with the Lakers. You can't guard him one-on-one. You have to send a double at Montrezl Harrell, and if you send a double at Montrezl Harrell, now you got Lou Williams one-on-one, and he's eating. But now he can't eat because the minute he gets the ball, they rushing and 2 people at him because they're not worried about Zubac. It's like, dude, okay, he may get a slam dunk, but we can recover. You know what I'm saying? If he passes the Zubac, he's so slow that we can reach and get out and then recover and still get over and help out our big man before he, you know what I'm saying, before he can get the ball up. So it's like, it's not, it hurt Lou Williams. I mean, he looks so out of sorts this year. He does not look like the same Lou Williams he's looked like in the past. He's starting to pass more, which is good, but it's almost a necessity because he can't shoot anymore. Because he's the only person on the second team, and they are just rushing him as soon as he touches the ball with that second team. So you got Luke Kennard trying to do something, but he's not good. You know, he's a journeyman at best, and so he's a piece of a puzzle. He's a pivotal. He could be a very good complementary piece, but he's not a good piece when you rely on it, and that's the problem. So you got that. I just don't see the Clippers. Like I said, I don't see them getting out of the second round. I think they're going to lose in the second round again because in a 7-game series, the most important thing is depth. And as good as their first team is, that second team, by the time you get down there and those men starts piling up and you're in game 2, game 3, and you've played 50 minutes and 50 minutes, now you're going around to the third game, you shot. You playing 3 games in 5 days, and now this in that 5th game is a beast for you to try to play, and so the Clippers, I mean, I would not be surprised if they made it to the championship game, but I just don't think they will. I think you need more depth than that. The Nuggets, I think, have a mental edge on them because of what happened last year. So, as I said before, I'm trying to understand where they're gonna go in free agency and trades, but they don't have a lot of cap room. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have a lot of pieces to trade. I mean, you could trade Paul George, but that would be ridiculous. I mean, you're not gonna get a better second man than Paul George right now and how he's playing. So you're gonna trade Serge Ibaka. Who are you going to trade? Who do you have a trade bait to help you get better? It's the same thing with the Brooklyn Nets. It's like everybody's like, well, they need to make a trade. It's like they can trade and get JaVale McGee. You sit up there and you're like, if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers and you know the only way to beat the Nets is them not have a big man, why the hell would you trade and give them a big man so that in case they're in the playoff running themselves? Why the hell would they give you something you need so that they can play that very same person and that team in the playoffs? But y'all, it's a good chance that y'all gonna be the 1 or 2 seed and we gonna be the 6 or 7 seed. We might have to play y'all. Why would we give y'all the tools to beat us? It doesn't make any sense. So that's just stupid to believe that the Cavaliers are gonna trade them JaVale McGee. I mean, they have to be morons to sell them JaVale McGee when they've already played them in back-to-back games and beat them twice. So now, because they have bigs and the Brooklyn Nets don't. So why in the world would I send you something that can help you beat me when I have a chance of making the playoffs myself? Like, that's just dumb. They're not going to get JaVale McGee. And they don't have the trade parts to trade for anybody else. Who are they going to trade? Who the hell? You going to trade Joe Thomas? Okay, get what you Paul, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Now you don't have any outside shooting. You lost one of the best setup shooters in the league. Off-ball shooters in the league. So what are you going to do? So really, all the piece you have is Joe Thomas. You try Landry Shamet. Who the hell is going to give up a good big man for Landry Shamet? You'll be hard pressed to find somebody who will give up a big man for Joe Harris. So I mean, it's just one of those things you have to look at in the long run. The Clippers, the Nets, I think they're running into the same problem. You know, they robbed Peter to pay Paul, and now they realized what they paid for Paul wasn't enough to cover Peter. So now you're stuck in this situation where you don't have enough ammo, and everybody told you wouldn't have enough ammo, and you ignored it. Thought you just find a way to make it. Because Kyrie Irving comes off to me as like that kid that another example outside of the one that I specifically told you about child support. if you don't really get that reference, he's more of a like, you ever have those kids where it's like, no matter what you tell them, they still want it. Like, they want, like, you like dude, like, why would you get that toy? Because you don't play with those type of toys. And they're like, yeah, but I want it. It's like, yeah, but but you're not gonna use it. So why would I pay for it? It's like you live on a farm and someone buying you a freaking motor scooter. It's like, it's kind of dumb. I mean, one of those little electric little scooter things. It's like, it's not really the terrain to have that, so you're really not gonna have much chance to use it. Yeah, but I can use it on the grass. It's like, yeah, but it's not gonna work as well on grass. So you might want to just, I mean, it's you're not gonna miss it if you don't have it. So you just don't get it. And after a while, they keep throwing attention to them, so the parents buy it anyway. Next thing you know, it ends up sitting in the attic for the next 3 years because they know they're not paying for it. That's how the Nets came off to me, and maybe more so Kyrie. I don't want to say Kyrie Irving. Maybe it's just the Nets. Like, that was dumb. Like, why did you trade a good team for James Harden, who you know you're not going to get the same James Harden? You are just not going to get the James Harden from Houston. You're not going to get the guy who's scoring 30, 40 points a game. You're going to get the guy who has the cut back on his shooting, who's scoring around 20 points a game. And yeah, he's giving you 15 assists, but they're not the type, they're fastball assists. They're not LeBron, Rondo, Chris Paul assists. They're not assists where you're running the clock down and then finding the perfect person in which you maximize the clock and keep their defense running around till they get tired and still stretching the game. You're getting these fastball assists where he's just running full speed and that D'Antoni assist game where they're all fast break assists. So it's not like he's breaking it down. It's always pick and roll, throw to DeAndre Jordan, pick and roll, throw to Joe Harris, pick and roll, throw to. So at the end of the day, he's not actually helping the defense. He's scoring quick, and then because he's usually taking contact to pass, they make the shot. Now the other team is taking off running. He's still getting up off the ground, and they get one just as fast because he sacrifices everything for that one basket. That's why I say to people, it's a clear-cut, obvious choice who's the best team in the NBA right now. It's the Lakers. It's not even close. The Lakers are so deep. I mean, they just played Wesley Matthews. Wesley Matthews hasn't played in 2 games. He DNP'd and came out and gave them 20 last night. Markieff Morris has not played in 2 games. Came out and gave him 12 points last night because Caruso couldn't play and Anthony Davis couldn't play. These are good players. They're not just good players. They're good players who are professionals. So I'll say this, like I said, last and final thing I'll say. Stop comparing the Lakers, the Nets. The only true comparison to the Lakers are the 76ers. 76ers are deep. They're good. Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons put together are comparable to LeBron James. Ben Simmons is the 1-point guard that can match up one-on-one with LeBron James. And he can also make LeBron James work on the defensive side because Tobias Harris, LeBron will have to guard Tobias Harris, but LeBron is really the only point guard or big enough person who's big enough to still stay in front of Ben Simmons. So it's a matchup problem when you talk about the 76ers. I mean, it's very, very hard. The 76ers are the closest thing you're going to get to a threat. The Bucks they don't have enough versatility. They lost too much in free agency. I think they put too much stock in how good Giannis was. Not that Giannis isn't really good. He's really good, but I think they don't understand that it's one thing to be a set 3-point shooter and to be off the dribble 3-point shooter. Giannis is a set 3-point shooter. That means he has to be standing wide open for him to be a viable threat as a 3-point shooter. The majority of people aren't going to do that, right? They leave you open as a luxury because they're daring you to shoot it. But if you make 1 or 2 in a row, then they're going to start closing out on you. And once they start closing out on you, then you're in a low trouble because he's not a rhythm shooter. He's a practice, nobody around 3-point shooter. So it's going to be hard for Giannis to play against the Lakers because the Lakers have so many ways of coming at you, and defensively they're so hard to stop. You're not getting to the rim with these players because they got so many players that can stay in front of you that's why he was getting hit with so many charges in that game. So, and the Clippers, like I said, they're top heavy, and if they can get out to an early lead and somehow sustain it, they can compete with the Lakers. But all in all, like I said before, they're too limited from a bench standpoint. So right now I see really the Boston Celtics and the 76ers are really in the Nuggets. The Nuggets, the Celtics, 76ers. People are talking about the Utah Jazz. They are also versatile, but defensively they really rely a whole lot on Rudy Gobert. And I think when you have a guy like Anthony Davis that can stretch the floor, yes, it will. When Anthony Davis' shot is not falling, then the Jazz are a real they can really compete because now you have to go to the rim and it's hard to get past Rudy Gobert. But if Anthony Davis' shot is falling, Rudy Gobert is obsolete. Now you have to move him off the floor. Now you can put in Derek Favors, who's a good backup, but I'm sorry, he's not going to be the same type of threat. You can throw it. LeBron can get to the rim. Anthony Davis, he's not Rudy Gobert. He doesn't have that girth. He does not have that height, that size. He can't do the same thing Rudy Gobert does. So that's the only problem with the Jazz. I think the Jazz, their record is more based on their schedule than them being good. They've played a lot of below 500 teams, so their schedule looks a lot better than it actually is. But regardless, y'all, I've been talking longer than I wanted to. I just wanted to come and give y'all something to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Something for y'all to discuss when y'all got the time. So please, I love having discussions down in the comment section. Love that. That's why I put up these videos, just to kind of bring up topics of discussion to discuss in the comment section. So please let me know what y'all think, and please hit the thumbs up to help me out, and the like button, thumbs up button, whatever it's called, and comment and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. All right, y'all. Peace.